It's 3 a.m. and you're wide awake. Your phone is face down. Your room is dark, and your mind is telling you something is wrong with you. But here's the strange part. For most of human history, this exact moment wasn't a malfunction. It was normal. It might even have been the point. You've been taught that sleep is supposed to be one long, unbroken block. 8 hours, lights out, straight through until morning. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you assume you're broken. You reach for your phone. You check the time. You panic a little. Then you lie there, doing the math on how many hours of rest you have left. Your ancestors did none of that. Historian A. Roger E. Kirch spent over a decade digging through old court records, diaries, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe, and he found something that changed how scientists think about sleep entirely. Before artificial light existed, people didn't sleep in one block. They slept in two. The first sleep began shortly after dusk. A few hours in, the body would naturally wake. Not from stress, not from a bad dream, just awake. And this middle-of-the-night waking wasn't treated as a problem. It had a name. People called it the watch. During the watch, people prayed. They talked quietly with a partner. They tended the fire. Some read. If they had a candle to spare, some had sex. Others simply lay in the dark and let their thoughts drift, half awake, half somewhere else. Then, after an hour or two, they drifted into a second sleep that carried them until dawn. Doesn't that sound familiar? That 3 a.m. waking you dread might not be insomnia at all. It might be an old rhythm your body still remembers, even though the world around it has completely changed. So why did this pattern disappear? The answer isn't biology. It's light bulbs. As artificial lighting spread through cities in the 19th century, nights stopped being dark. People stayed up later. Bedtimes shifted. The long, slow separation between first sleep and second sleep collapsed into a single block, squeezed to fit around work schedules and gas lamps and, eventually, electricity. Within a few generations, an ancient rhythm was gone. Not because it stopped working, because the world stopped giving it room to happen. But your body may not have gotten the memo. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel wanted to know what human sleep actually looked like before all of this. So he studied 3 of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. Groups with no electricity, no clocks, no screens. What he found surprised almost everyone in his field. These groups didn't sleep in the rigid two-phase pattern E. Kirch had uncovered in old European records. But they didn't sleep in one tidy block either. Their sleep was flexible, loose, shaped by temperature, by firelight, by the natural rhythm of the body cooling as night went on. They almost never napped, and strikingly, they rarely reported insomnia at all, despite going to bed hours after sunset and waking with the first light. What they had that most modern humans don't was darkness, real darkness, and the freedom to let sleep happen on its own terms, instead of forcing it into a fixed 8-hour box. Anthropologist Carol Worthman took this even further. She studied sleep across dozens of traditional societies and found something modern sleep science had almost completely ignored. For most of human history, sleep wasn't a private, solitary act at all. People slept in groups, multiple bodies in one space, sound and movement all around, fires crackling, someone occasionally stirring, a baby fussing, an elder coughing. Sleep happened in the middle of a living, breathing household, not sealed away behind a closed door in total silence. Now think about how you sleep tonight. Alone, probably, in silence or trying to force it. In a dark box built specifically to keep out every trace of noise and light and other people. Your ancestors would have found that deeply strange, maybe even a little unsettling. Here's the question worth sitting with. What if the thing we call a good night's sleep, one long silent block, alone in total darkness, isn't actually the default setting for human beings at all? What if it's the unusual one? A recent invention that happens to be the one you were handed, simply because it's the one your culture normalized. Your brain doesn't know that 8 unbroken hours is supposed to be the goal. It only knows patterns. And for hundreds of thousands of years, the pattern was different, segmented, communal, shaped by firelight and darkness and the presence of other bodies nearby. So when you wake at 3 a.m. and your mind starts spiraling about lost sleep, consider a different story. Maybe that's not failure. Maybe that's your body reaching for an old rhythm it never fully forgot, one that modern life simply stopped making space for. A Kirch found something else buried in those old records, something almost tender. People described the watch as peaceful, unhurried. A quiet window that belonged only to them, tucked between 2 halves of the night. Not a gap to be fixed, a gift to be used. What would it feel like to stop fighting that hour? To let your mind sit in the dark without reaching for a screen or a clock? Your ancestors didn't waste that time being anxious about lost sleep. They used it for thought, for connection, for simply being awake in the quiet without needing a reason. Somewhere underneath the glow of your phone screen and the pressure to sleep in one perfect block, there may still be an ancient rhythm, patiently waiting for the dark to return. It's 3 a.m. and you're wide awake. Maybe that's not something broken in you. Maybe it's something ancient, finally getting a moment to breathe.